Welcome to another Mentorship Mondays with Michelle and Maren. Hello, Maren.
Hello, Michelle. How are you?
I'm doing really good. I am doing fantastic. And right off the hop, I want to say thank you to all of our new followers. We are now over 1,000 followers. So that's very exciting. So thank you guys for joining
That
us.
is so exciting. I'm just so happy that this is resonating with people and it's information people want to hear and
Mhm.
it's feeding your soul. So I feel like my purpose is being fulfilled. So it's good.
Well, that's right. And this is truly why we do this. Um, this is a place that we can share all of these things that Maren and I are learning and going through, and we know that so many of you guys are going through. So it's such a great place to learn together and grow together.
Mhm.
And I know, so now I am experiencing this first time today, but Maren's got something she wants to share. And so I've not heard this yet, so I'm excited to react on camera because it's pretty exciting. It's been a very energetic week, and we had was it the Wolf Moon on the
It was the
25th?
wolf moon. Yeah.
Yes, and it was intense for everyone in many different ways. You may have noticed in your own lives, just as you're thinking back, like what happened last week, what happened to even the week leading up to last week. So you might notice things like maybe a little drama, even if you're not directly involved in it. Could be drama of what's going on around you, family members, friends. Um, a lot of emotional energy and a lot of releasing. And I know we say that around every moon because truthfully, the moon's energy is an intensity, but it's also a leveling up. And so when you are on your journey and you're consciously aware of what you're working through, whether you feel like you're moving or not, every time these cycles come up, the moon cycles, every phase of the moon has a different energy to it to help you release, to help you focus in a different area of your life. And when we hear that, be in the moment, be present, be with yourself, flow with things. When you do flow like water with the moon, and we were talking about the water and the timelines last week, right? When you flow with it, it will organically come to you. And rather than push it away, work through the emotions. And even if it's not you that's experiencing something directly, something that I love is if somebody else is experiencing something. If you are watching, even if you're watching something in the media and you're like, whoa, like I'm glad that didn't happen to me. Or, whoa, that looks like really scary. You can go and look at that and use that situation as a learning tool and put yourself in that situation because many times when these things happen and we have some fear, we have some uncomfortable feelings around something that we view that's not directly involved with us, we can get benefit of the lesson and move that fear, and it's not necessary for us to experience. So there's a lot of really amazing ways that we can connect to our healing journey to help us expand our consciousness and really let go of a lot of fear. And we are in a time where a lot of that stuff is popping up all around us. But I digress. That's not really what we're talking about here. We're talking about that moon and what it brought forward and what it did for you, Maren, last week. So I'm
All I
excited to
have
hear
to
this.
say, yes, all I have to say is what the moon. Like, my
Yeah,
it
with the moon.
why was
I
I
like
think
that.
this has been the most powerful full moon. So the wolf moon will forever stay in my memory for its power. Um,
Yeah,
so holy cow. Um, okay, so guys, I had the most incredible experience and it was so intense. I don't even know if I'm going to be able to convey with words the intensity of this
yeah,
experience.
yeah,
But it is one I will never forget. I was left in shock, literally shock for half a day. I I literally was. Like I went to
yeah.
work the next day and then at like some point in work, I went to the bathroom and I was like, "Oh my god, I don't even think I brushed my hair." Like
This really took you for one.
This
Yeah.
really took me for it. Yeah. So anyways, I can't wait to tell you guys the story. Um, Lots of synchronicities also this week with the whole timelines thing. I want to just share this
Yeah.
really quickly. I was laying in bed reading articles after that show, after last week's show, and it said scientists feel they can define consciousness through quantum physics. And I was like, oh, that seems like a good article to read. And they said something that resonated so deeply with me with your when we were talking about jumping timelines and the spaghetti box and the
Yeah.
noodles and being all at once and all, and they were talking about like fractals in this article and how fractals can be everywhere and nowhere, and like it was exactly the metaphor that you used in science terms,
Mm,
and I was like, oh my gosh, this is what Michelle was talking about. So very cool, very very cool. I just wanted to like
awesome.
share that. Maybe I
That's
can
cool.
link that article um
Yeah,
if you guys
that'd
want to
be
read
cool.
that too, because that was really cool. But okay, so the full moon was Thursday night, right?
Yeah.
So Wednesday night, I'm like, I'm going to try that water manifestation activity that Michelle talked about. So I'm halfway through it and I'm like, oh, shoot, I should have done this on the full moon. Why did I do it the week? Then I did it the night before the full moon. I should have done it on the full moon. And so I was like, okay, it's okay. What I'll do is I'll do it 3 nights in a row, because whenever you do something 3 times, it
Yes.
amplifies it.
Right.
So the
Right.
full moon, so that, and I was like, oh my God, that's perfect. Like it must have been meant to be that way. Like, because
Yeah.
that makes so much sense to have it like the middle date be the full moon and catch it before and after. Like, okay. So I was like, oh, it's meant to
Yes.
be.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
so I do the manifestation the first night, and all my manifestations are very conservative, right? Like very conservative of what I want for my life. It was a very like, I don't want to say realistic, because I think going bigger could be realistic too, right? Everything is within
Mhm.
the realm of possibility. It was just,
Right.
so I'm using the word conservative. It was just very conservative.
Okay.
And then the whole next day, on the night of the full moon, and what is so crazy, I felt the feelings that you felt too. So the first night, I felt my throat chakra, and I was like, oh my gosh, I feel something with my throat chakra too. Yeah. And it was, yeah. And so I was like, oh, okay. So then the next day, um, I'm thinking about it all day, about my manifestation, and like, did I say everything right? Did I include everything in what I wanted for my life? Did I think everything enough for what I love about this life? Like, I was very cognizant of everything that I did. And then at one point I just switched and I was like, why was I so conservative? Like, this is my manifestation. I need to
Mhm.
manifest the moon, like, for my life, right? Like, I need to like go all out with this manifestation, because
Yeah.
that is how you get it, right? And so
Yes.
I'm like, there's no ceiling to this manifestation the next time
Yes.
around. So
I love it.
so
I love it.
I know. So I do the manifestation activity. And oh my goodness, my ears were popping. They were like every other. It was so weird. It like went like 3 or 4 times, like pop, 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 pop. I can't remember what side I
Oh,
was
wow.
on. I think I was on the like what I want for my life side. I was like, oh,
Right.
what chakra are my ears related to? Like, what's going on? I've never had that happen before. It was like,
So, did you feel it in your like, was it inside feeling, or did you feel it more on the outside? Like, how are you feeling that?
I think it was
Was it
more on the
actually like a
inside, like
physical popping?
when your ear pops like on a plane or something like that. Like, it was like
Okay.
pop, pop,
Yes.
pop. Like it was,
Okay, I
it
get
was.
you.
I mean,
Mhm.
if anything, it was on the outside, like putting like a little pressure to it to make it feel popped.
Yes.
But
Yes. Yes.
I don't, I don't exactly know, because I was like deep in my
Yeah.
my manifestation. So
Yep.
I was just like, oh, my ears are popping. This is odd. And it's bouncing back and
Yeah.
forth. That's definitely not normal.
Yeah. Yeah.
um, so anyways, so I get to the like, financial abundance part of my manifestation. And I was very conservative before. And I was just like, and you know what? I want a boat. And so random. And but you know what? Like, just go for it. So I was like, I want a
The next
boat.
show we have Maren's on the boat. Look, look what I did.
Seriously. I like
Yeah.
literally because okay, so just because that one was so random, I really think I'm gonna manifest that one in my life because it was so random.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
what's really cool is how I don't know where you said this, if you said this to me off air, on air, on Eric's show. Like I don't remember
Hmm.
where you said this, but like
Hmm.
when you said when you're jumping timelines, like and say you have $100,000 house and you want $1 million house, you're
Yeah.
not going to wake up the next morning and have $1 million house, but you might get a brochure for a million
Yes.
dollar house or like a dream house or
Yeah.
something like that. And it's just
Yeah.
showing you that the universe has accepted your manifestation and that,
Right.
you're moving timelines. Okay.
Right. Right.
So I get in bed and I'm on Instagram and a new person like gets on my feed that I've never seen before. And she does like internet marketing or something like that. And I'm like looking through her page and her page goes, it literally, this is the post I land on, says, when you've made so much money with internet marketing that you're on your way to go buy a boat. And I was like, I got a sign.
There's your sign. There it is.
Yes.
That's
I
it.
was like, oh my
Yes.
gosh, my manifestations have been heard. Like, so I was so
Yes.
excited.
Oh my gosh, I
Because
love it.
that was like probably the most random thing that I said through my whole,
Yeah.
manifesting of what
Yep.
I wanted, randomly specific. Um, so anyway, so that was really exciting. Okay.
Yeah.
So go to bed. I wonder if this is important. So I'm going to say this detail. I closed my eyes and I saw a tiger and I was like, hey, bud. And then I like, went to sleep. I Googled what's the spiritual meaning of a tiger, and it was like self confidence. It was, I think has a really big part of it. It's, what's it called? Shadow self,
Yes.
self
Yes.
confidence. Um,
Yes.
and there's like one more that went to it, maybe self love or something like that. I don't remember, but
Yes.
that was
Mhm.
strength.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
that was the tiger meaning. Okay. So, are you looking it up?
No, I'm writing something down, so I don't wanna interrupt
Oh,
your
you don't
flow
want to
here.
forget. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, anyways, I go to sleep, everything's fine. And I wake up, I hear my son calling me in the middle of the night, and he woke up in the middle of the night. And I remember the first thing I thought was, huh, that's funny. Normally, when he wakes up in the middle of the night, it's because I've just had like a psychic dream and like spirit
Mhm.
wants me to remember it. So they wake my kids up, and then I get up and I
Mhm.
remember the dream. Like it happens all the
Mhm.
time. And
Mhm.
well, not all the time, but that's
Frequent enough,
typically the
you
way that
know.
it goes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my son gets up and I'm like, huh, that's unusual. Little did I know it was all about to begin. So, yeah. It's just funny that I even had that thought and like then like so much happened afterwards. So anyway, so he just needed to help going back to sleep. But I was up for a while. So I was kind of awake after I was done putting him back to bed. So I did a little light housework and
Yeah.
I noticed that the hot water heater, there was no hot water and the hot water heater was
Yeah.
off. And
Huh.
so I was like, should I wake up Josh? So the hot water heater is like in that scary, the scariest room of the house. It's like all the way in the basement, all the way in the back, in the unfinished room with like, the
Yeah.
water. And it's stinky in there. And it's
Yeah.
just like, I hate that room. I'm
Yeah.
always so scared to go in that room. And so I was like, oh, do I wake up Josh and have him go fix the hot water heater? And then I was like, no,
Yeah.
like this is like an insignificant thing in the middle of the night. Like I can do it. I'm just going to
Yeah.
do it, get everything prepared for the morning. Like I'm going to go down there and turn it on.
Yeah.
And so I like opened the door to that room and I was like, huh, that's funny. I don't feel scared in here tonight. And I fixed the hot water heater. So the thing is that the hot water heater, like 3 months ago, something was wrong with it and it turned off every single day. Like every single day it turned off. So I'm like really good at knowing how to fix the hot water heater.
Yeah.
But we got a
Yeah.
plumber. Plumber fixed the hot water heater. We have a electrical one, like a tankless water heater.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
I feel like Spirit is really good at manipulating electrical things, you know? So
Yes.
when it went off, I was like, we haven't had a problem since the plumber has come. So, like, this is extremely abnormal for our hot water heater to
Yeah.
go off.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's gone off in the middle of the night. Like, this is Spirit. Spirit, if somebody is making me go down there in the middle of the night, like, who is it, you know?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I was like, that kind of like led to my like, oh, I don't want to go down there. But then I went down there and I was like, it's not scary. And I fixed the hot water heater and I came back up and finished what I was doing and went to bed. And I think it was my first dream of the night. Um, I've got to get water before I start this part. I don't know what I did with my water. I feel like my throat's getting dry. Okay, the suspense. So,
Uh,
okay, so it's the first dream. I like go back to sleep just fine. First dream of the
yeah.
night. It's a normal dream. I don't know if this is an important detail, so I'm just saying it. I had a
Yep.
dream and I was at the Catholic church that I work at, and I was talking to my best friend whose kids go to that school, and she was in my
Yeah.
dream. And so I don't know if that's significance, but anyway, so we're talking in my dream and it's normal and we're just chatting away. And then all of a sudden, I'm on this platform outside and there are dementors in the field in front of me. And I call them dementors, but what they look like were people with black robes and black hoods,
Mhm.
and you couldn't see their face. And they were all lined up in rows and like almost like an army, and like kind of like staggered rows, but they were everywhere. And someone, a female, so I don't know if it's my friend from that dream or if it was my higher self or if it wouldn't have been my higher self, but it would, but like, I don't know. Anyways, a female said, there's so many of them. And I immediately said to her, without taking my view off of these, like I call them Dementor people, I said, I'm more powerful. And I like said it with such authority and like confidence, and like there was just no question that I could handle these Dementor people. And immediately I surrounded myself in white light and I shot my light energy in the air and they shot their like dark energy in the air and it met in the middle. Now their colors were
Yeah.
black, green, and purple. Don't know if that has anything to do with anything,
Okay. Yeah.
but our energy met in the air and I like braced for it, you know, like I like literally like hunkered down, and I hunkered down in real life too. Like I really like braced
Yeah.
for it. And
Yeah.
I had them completely surrounded in my white light, and I had them almost completely evaporated in my white light. But then I was like, I have to breathe. I like somehow got awareness of my body, and I don't think I was breathing in real life. And I
Oh,
literally
wow.
was like, I have to breathe. And I heard someone say, breathe through it, but I couldn't. Like it took me out of the dream. Like, and I woke up
Yeah.
because I
Yeah.
literally wasn't breathing. And
Right.
so I came out of the dream, woke up, and I had like a split second to go, like, oh my God, I was really like, that was real. Like my solar plexus was humongous and my abs were sore from like bearing
Wow.
down. And like, so then I'm like,
Yeah.
how long was I doing that for? Because I know you can like hold your breath for a really long time when you're relaxed. Like, was
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
like holding my breath for a really long time? But anyway, um, so I woke up and I was like, wow, I did that in real life, which is not abnormal. Like, you know, my dog runs in his sleep sometimes. And so I know like your body can do some things in your sleep. But anyway, so I was like,
Yeah.
so it was kind of like that. I wasn't like thinking that the
Right.
dream was real at that point, but I was like, oh wow, I
Right.
like really, really hunkered down for that. And
Yeah.
then like as soon as I got done with that thought, so like 2 seconds later, this like energy came at me from the female side, and it like kind of like seized my body, like my whole body like did that, like it like like almost like
Yeah.
when you retch when you're throwing up and like you have no
Yeah.
control over it, like it just does it, and your whole
Yeah.
body like
Like
tenses from the
spontaneous. Yeah.
yes, and it did seem like it was from like the abdomen, like it just all like you know
Mm. Mhm.
seized. I don't know what other
Mhm.
word to say. And there was like
Mhm.
energy, just like okay, like electric energy. And then my ears both popped, or like I don't even know if you would call it pop. Like I couldn't hear out of them. Like it was like when it does that, like maybe like when you're on a
Yeah.
plane and
Yes,
like all of a
yes.
sudden you
Yeah.
can't hear. Okay, so
Yep.
like I feel like that's the best analogy. Like you know,
Yeah. Yeah. I know exactly
and
what you mean. Yeah.
okay, so but both ears, okay, not just the female
Yeah.
side, which is what happens to me
Right.
during readings.
Yes.
Both ears did that.
Okay.
And
Hmm.
then I heard a female's voice outside of my head. Okay. So, like in readings, I might hear the person's voice I always hear it in my head. And it might
Mhm.
sound like me, or I might hear accents. I might like actually hear them, but it is all in
Yeah.
my head. Like when you're remembering how
Right.
someone speaks, and that's in your head.
Yes.
That's the way I
Yes.
hear it. I've only
Yes.
had one other time where I've heard someone like outside of my head, and it was like almost like a wisp of like
Yeah.
I just barely caught it. This was
Yeah.
like I'm hearing this person. Okay. Like
Yes.
literally I'm
Okay.
hearing the phrase that she's saying.
Yes.
And it's not English. It's not any
Mm.
other like earthly language that I know. It
Yes.
is it seemed like it was a command. It seemed authoritative yet like very grounded and gentle. Um it it had I'm such a speech pathologist. It had complex syllables to it.
Yes.
It wasn't just
Yes.
like ba ra ma, like it was like, it sounded like language, yet there were no words that I knew, and there were no
Yes.
pauses between words.
Was
Okay,
it
so it
like
was like
light?
this.
Have you heard light language? Was it like light
No,
language?
no, I've never heard
Okay.
light language. Okay.
Okay.
So anyways, so I hear that, and then it's gone, like 2 to 3 seconds, and then it's gone. And I was like, oh, because of course one of the things I manifested was to be able like to have all my abilities like, keep growing and improving and stuff. And then I was like, oh, I don't know if I want them to go that far. That was really intense. Like if I'm hearing people outside my body, that's really intense. And now there was the whole popping. I don't think that would ever happen, but like I was like, oh, I don't think I liked that. That was like all I got to think was, I don't think I liked that. And then whoosh, it came at me again. And it did and
Wow.
this time, I think because I was even like more awake after the first time it happened, it was like I could almost like see the energy coming at me. And it's
Yeah.
like, and I could feel it coming at me like a tidal wave, or like, when you open
Yeah.
up the oven and you just like you can feel the heat
Yeah.
come at you. Like it doesn't just hit you
Right.
all at once. It's like you just feel it wash onto
Yes.
you.
Yes.
Okay. But it was so like impactful and jarring, like a tidal wave. Like it was the most intense energy I've ever felt in my life. Like I feel like I brought in Jesus, and like this is like 10, 100 times more. And I remember like, it was so funny because after I brought in Jesus, I was like, and his energy, it was like the curtains would blow open. Like his energy was so powerful. Like I couldn't, it was just so strong. And then
Yeah.
this was like 10 times stronger. Like it was just
Wow.
immense. Okay. And it hits my body and it does my ears. It says the exact same phrase that it said before. She said the exact same phrase that she said before. And 2 to 3 seconds, and then she's gone. And you just feel everything up and down. And at this now I'm like, well, wait a minute. Is that my watch? did my watch malfunction? I'm hearing like Surrey, you know what I mean? Even though it didn't sound like Surrey, but I'm like, am I hearing something
Yeah.
on my watch? Because it was that
Yeah.
close to me. It's like my phone would be too far. Like it had, and I felt for my
Right.
watch and I was like, no, I don't have my watch on. Like that was definitely somebody.
Yes. Yeah.
And as I'm feeling for my watch, all of a sudden I notice that this heat is radiating from my body. And this is like heat like I have never felt in my life. This heat is like, it's not like I've been working out and I'm like sweaty hot heat. And it's not like I've had a fever heat. This is heat like you feel off of your car engine after your car has been running. Like there was like a 3-inch thick layer of extremely hot heat coming off of my body. Like it was unbelievable. Like it's, you know, like I do get like this sometimes when I have a fever where it's like you can even like feel it on your face, just like you can,
Yes.
like,
Yeah. It's radiating.
yes,
Yeah.
it was. And I was like, oh, that's different. So anyways, so okay, so it hit me twice, and I noticed my dog was like deep breathing. Like he sleeps on the bed with us, and he was like,
Yeah.
it wasn't on a pant. It was like a I'm having an intense dream. And so I was like, okay,
Right.
that's really odd. I've never heard him like,
Like he was breathing through it. Like it was was it
yes,
like a practice breathing through? Yeah.
yes,
Ah,
yeah. It wasn't like
okay.
a pant. It was
Right.
like it was very intense, and yeah, okay. And then um my husband, right after it happened, right, maybe like as I was cooling, my
Yeah.
husband like took one little, like kind of nuzzled, and like he gets really hot, and so we don't really normally touch like when we're sleeping,
Yeah.
but like all of a sudden
Yeah.
he nuzzled to where we were touching, and then he was like, and he nuzzled again to where we were like overlapping, and then he nuzzled again where we were like really overlapping, and I was like, that is really odd. So I was like, do I have like really good energy that he's feeling, or is he trying to protect me, and he was like in that dream too somehow, and he's trying to protect me from everything. So anyways, that is what happened. My son got up at 2:30 in the morning. I did not sleep, and I was like, what in the world happened? So my thoughts were like, one, which is kind of my immediate feeling, was that it was an angel that came in right away and like took care of, because like the Dementor people were like almost 100% dissolved in my bubble before I woke up.
Yeah.
And so I was like,
Yeah.
did I not finish it off? And she came and like finished it off so that I was
Yeah.
protected.
Yeah.
Um, or what I was so worried about, and which didn't let me like sleep easy, was like, was that them and coming and, you know, like finishing me off because I didn't finish them off, or like attacking me because I
Mm.
didn't finish them off. But I was like, there's no way. Like, my house is so safe. My energy is so safe. Like there's no way that they could get to me. Like there's just no way. And like that energy that came like didn't hurt me. It
Yeah.
didn't, I didn't feel fear with it, except for the fact that it was so startling and so jarring and so unexpected and so otherworldly. Like that scared
Yes.
me, but
Yes. Yeah.
not the like feelings I got from everything that happened,
Right.
if that makes
Right.
sense.
Right. Yes.
Um, so I was contemplating with those two things, right? And I asked Eric,
Yeah.
and Eric said that it was an angel. And I was like,
Yeah.
okay, are you sure? Like, are you sure? Um, and then I was like, but what about those Dementor people? And he said that you need to remember that your I'm not going to say it exactly how he said it, but your outward we project outward what's inward, basically. Like your reality is an outward projection of your inner self. I think that's what he said. Your reality is an outward projection of your inner self. And I was
Yes.
like, I kind of get that, because I just had this manifestation thing that I did. And like the
Yes.
Dementors could be like my like everything holding me back and all my like self-limiting beliefs and my negative thoughts about myself and like could just be that energy, like they don't have to
Yes.
be people.
That's right.
Um,
That's right.
but I still was like, oh, it was just too scary. That was just on both ends, the dream and the thing that happened. It was just, I don't
It was
know. Like
really
I wanted
intense.
to make it was so intense. I was like, I need a clarification. So I said, okay, universe, if it was an angel, I want to see an
Yeah.
angel in my day tomorrow. Like I want to hear about an angel. I want
Yes.
to see about an angel. I want to read about an angel. Like
Yeah.
a random angel needs to come into my reality tomorrow. And
Yes.
and it can't be my son has a angel like statue and on his dresser in his room. It can't be that. I see it every night when I tuck him in bed. And it can't
Okay.
be angel
Yeah.
numbers because I see angel numbers all day, every day. Like that's not, it needs to be something
Yeah.
unexpected.
Yeah. Something, yeah,
And
something different.
literally like 30 seconds or less after I finished my prayer, my alarm clock went off and I set it for 5:55. I wake up at 5:55 every day. And so like of course my alarm clock goes, but the night before I actually thought, not the night before, but um two nights before, I was like 5:55 is not giving me enough time. Like I'm just going to set it for 5:45. So I have 5:45 and 5:55 set in my alarm clock wake up time.
Yeah.
And um I um I like look over at my clock and it's 5:55. So I don't know what happened to the 5:45 alarm. Like that did not go off. Only the 5:55 alarm went off.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I was like, okay. I mean, I said no angel numbers, but that's a really good sign that this like second after I finish this, I get the
Yeah.
5:55 wake up
Yeah.
call, right?
Yeah.
But then also I was like, I woke up at 2:30 and I'm like, it's already 5:55. Oh my God, I haven't slept.
Oh,
So,
wow. Yeah.
so anyways, so I'm like, okay, I think that's a good start to the day. That's a
Yeah.
really good, like, answering
Yeah.
to the day.
Yeah.
And anyway, so of course the alarm goes off and we all get up. And so like my husband gets up and I'm like, oh my God, I have to talk to you. I have to tell you about what happened. And so I start the whole story over again.
Yeah.
And I say, and I was up in the middle of the night and the hot water heater went off. And I said, I was like, I hate that room. I know a spirit brought me down to that room. And I was almost going to wake you up and have you go down there and do it for me. And he goes, why are you afraid of that room? The only thing in that room is a 6-foot angel. And I was like, that's where we put our angel Christmas uh, decoration. I don't know. We got it this year for Christmas
Oh, wow.
and we put it in that room. Yeah. And so when he said that, I literally stopped telling him my story and I just hugged him and I was like, that's why they made me go down there.
Yeah.
That's why I had to go down there. That's why I didn't feel scared because there's probably an angel already with me. Like this
Yes.
whole thing had been planned out for me to like accomplish these fears. And so yeah.
Wow.
So what the moon, Michelle? Oh my gosh.
Wow. Like, seriously.
Definitely. You get what you asked
Well, you do.
for.
You do. And it's quite amazing because, um, like, as you're saying this, you put a lot of trust, faith, and you got the validation because you continue to plow through the experience and really go with your gut. Like, go with your, um, and I mean with such an intense experience, a lot of these things that are new that, we've not really had before, we have to really trust that, yes, I am protected. Yes, I am safe. Yes, I am grounded. Yes, I am sane. Like all of those things because they are,
Yeah.
uh,
Yes.
like, to really, like, it takes a couple days. I'm sure it took you a couple days just to kind of sit down and put it in words, like even to just tell us today, to really make sense of it. Um, it's so interesting. I was writing a few things down as you were talking. I didn't want to interrupt your flow because there was just so much. And a lot of the signs, like the tiger, um, I remember one time, this is what it brought me in my mind, which this was confidence. My when I went through a real shift in my work with spirit was right around the time that I channeled Shanann Watts and for channeling Eric. And I didn't know I was channeling Shanann Watts, but she started coming to me in dreams. So I would have these experiences where I would see something about her, a flash of her. Well, there was one specific dream where she was lying in a bathtub of water, beautiful white clawfoot bathtub, and behind her was this gorgeous see-through fireplace. Everything was white. It was just gorgeous, like white fur rug, everything. And she pointed. She didn't say anything to me. She just pointed and pointed over to one corner. And I looked over and there was this great big tiger, this big wild tiger. And there was like it was in a gate. It was like in like this, like the circus was in one of those black barred gates, and the gate lifted up and opened, and this tiger got out and just stretched and just pulled and started to walk and walked right up to me and laid down in front of me. And I was getting the significance of that as you were saying this, because I get this real sense that this is it's actually very beautiful what happened, as intense, but this is like what Eric was saying, the representation of what's within, and the battling that we do, the battle that we take towards our own deeper fears, insecurities, vulnerabilities, all of those things that are representation in our dreams, in our experiences, and then to know that you're not walking alone, that you're walking with the angels, because I'm seeing so much white, like seeing around Shanann, all of that white with the tiger, because you are the tiger. You have the power of the tiger, and you are so protected. So protected. And that was a leveling up. That was a
Yeah.
let us take from you all that, like it's like having that dream. Look what you're doing, look what you're conquering, because you are more powerful than any of your fears. And now let us take that energy and remove it from you so that you can be your true self, so that you can experience you, because the fears and all of those are not you. That's a very powerful message, very intense message. But that's quite incredible, because that's what,
Yeah.
and as we're sharing this today, I'm hearing, and that's what is happening to everyone, whether you are experiencing that particular type of experience or not. But that is what is available to us. That is what's happening, no matter how we are experiencing it in our reality when we choose. And you have made a choice, because you're right, you get what you ask for. And you made a very conscious, powerful choice times three, because three, right? Like you really amp
Yes.
that baby up, and you've got a lot of momentum around you. But that like, I don't think I will ever get tired of hearing the most amazing stories. That is just incredible.
Oh my gosh.
Incredible.
It really is incredible. It's so, like, now that I'm out of the, like, okay, was that like, now that I know what happened
Yes.
is so incredible.
Yes.
And then like, I'm like, oh my God, I like actually heard an angel. Like, that's
Yes.
amazing, like that's so freaking cool.
I
And but also like that's kind of what I thought too. And before I even had the angel thing validated,
Yeah.
just knowing like, okay, I really think it was an angel. I think something happened and she stepped in and so feels so protected
Yes.
and like that this she's just there. Like if there wasn't a second to spare and she was
She
there.
was
Like
there.
so it was just really cool. And she like she said the same thing both times and it was like a command.
Hmm.
Like it was like
Was
she
this in
was
this other
command like
language?
so this is what?
Was the command in this other language?
Yeah, it was in the other language. And so it's funny because I think I told you this that I recorded my own um my own wake up alarm. I think I told you
Yes,
that, and
yeah,
I like
yeah,
tell myself to get up
yeah.
and tell my yeah. So it kind of reminded me of that. Like it was like a command. Like I always say, like it's time to get up, and it was like that, like intonation, like "Azamana," like you know what I mean. I don't know what she said, and that was definitely not it. But like whatever she said, it was kind of like that. Like it was authoritative yet gentle and commanding.
Can I
And
can I play something really quick and tell me if it sounds like this? If it's similar?
yes.
Okay, I'm just gonna play something real quick. Okay, okay, I'm going to hear that part. Okay, see if they get going. Let's get into it here. Okay, that's not quite what I was looking for. There's I'm wondering if it's light language. Now, I've never ever heard an angel actually speak a light language. Okay. Okay, I don't know how to operate my new phone. Anyway, um I've never actually heard
Okay,
I've
it's
heard
me.
people speak light language, and I had an experience with somebody that was channeling, trance channeling, and bringing through light language from an angel, and that's what I'm getting when you're saying that, and it's a activation because I feel that there's
Okay.
activation that's taken place in you.
Well, that's kind of what I feel too. And I feel like the heat was the energy,
Yes.
right? Like, so somehow she either gave me
Yeah.
energy or she did something, but through energy, and that she did, like, I mean, this heat is something that, like, it's funny. When I was a kid, I like watched like an unsolved mysteries about somebody that like spontaneously combusted.
Yeah,
And I
I
used to like
remember
have
that.
nightmares about that. And really, yeah. And,
Yeah.
and I was like, oh my God, I think I almost spontaneously combusted. Like, this is what would happen. Like, there was like that much heat. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, it was
Yes.
so much heat.
Yes.
And so, but I think of it like as the car engine's got like this friction is using energy, and that's what's creating the heat, right? I mean,
Right.
that's what happens when you exercise as
Right.
well. But
Right.
like, but it was to such intensity. And I feel like that is what she did. Because the other thing too is like when you exercise, it's like a slow start of the heat. This was an
Right.
instant, like, oh my God, like something happened and I'm like smoking. You know what I mean? Like
Yes. Yes.
it was that
Yes.
like intense.
Yes.
And so yeah, so I feel like she was like either like giving me some energy or like like getting that bad energy out, or maybe just doing a swap. I don't know, but there was like a command. So there was definitely
Yes.
something that she was doing,
Yes.
almost like a psychic surgery or something. I don't know much about that, but I feel like if that would have been it. Like if I, it gets that
There's an
shifting.
activation of um and I feel a lot of female. There's female energy 'cause my crown and my female side is going off a lot. So I don't know if this is your angel that we're feeling here or who this is for sure. But um I get that it's there's some DNA light codes because there's a lot of light switches coming on, flicking on. And it's interesting because your meridians, so in the ears, we have the inner and outer meridians, right? So our inner meridians is where we hear from the inside. So when we do hear a voice, and it almost, for me, it's always back a little bit. Even when it's on the outside, it's it sounds like it's zooming by, but it's always back behind here, and those are where our meridians are. But I do think there's a lot of vibrational shifting that has taken place, and I would say quite a substantial vibrational shift has been made. And um, I don't think that's the last time you'll experience something similar. I think you'll experience something like that again. at another time.
Well, you know what's really interesting is one day, um, I guess it would have been last year, I had to take a day off work because it was like I had a fever, but I had no fever. Like I kept getting like the fever chills,
Yeah,
but they weren't real fever
yeah,
chills. But it reminds me, now that I've had this experience, it reminds me of that like energy wave
yes,
that was going through my
yes.
body. And so it's like I kept having this like energy wave going through my body that reminded me of like kind of like that's just the fever chills where they just kind of like run up and down your spine, you know? And I remember like telling my coworkers, I was like, yeah, it's like the weirdest thing. Like I felt like I had a fever, but I had no fever. And so I mean, I took the day off because it was like really weird.
Well, and a
So,
lot of us are experiencing what's referred to as the ascension flu. So we can have
oh,
different ailments in our body that if you were to get tested or, you know, get anything done, I had that experience this week as well, where you feel unwell, but it is vibrational shifting. So when we vibrationally shift, when light comes in, light's information, right? So when we've created space and we're moving vibrationally, and this is happening as the planet ascends, as our collective ascends, each being on Earth ascends. So we have to release dense energy, right? So as we vibrationally shift, as we expand, there's going to be energy. So we could also say the timeline that we're on, what doesn't fit in the timeline. So whether it's in the physical body, however it needs to be released, it could be your emotions, your mental state, because in any one of our bodies that are present, our energy body, our physical body, mental body, emotional body, anything that is carrying a density that does not fit with where you have moved. So where your energy body has moved to, if you've got something that's not going to match that, so it could be something no longer useful. But a lot of times it comes out in the physical body because that's the easiest way for it to happen. So we experience fever, chills, headaches. Um, we can also experience that with changes in the pineal gland, third eye. But in this case, um, feeling fever, chill is a way to release. And also, a lot of times when we feel slightly unwell, we rest. We allow ourselves to rest, which is many times what our body needs as we're going to do a shift like that. So,
hmm.
this week in particular, I thought I had an infection, and I was like, "Oh my gosh!" Like, and this was not on the full moon. It was the night before, on the Wednesday, and I wasn't feeling very well throughout the day. Now, it is not abnormal for anyone in my house. Like, I've been mapping and watching moon cycles and behaviors for years. I've always done that. Just kind of watched how, read the cycles and see what behaviors kind of move around it. So there's a pattern that does happen. It's very interesting in our family because I will see certain, especially with Marcus, with autism, he feels everything and he is like an alarm bell of something that's about to go off. Whether it's picking up on something in someone in our house, my parents, like his behavior will change. And because we understand the patterns, we've seen it happen so many times, we know something's about to happen. Like it could be a phone call that an ambulance is being called for my dad, like he'll feel some discomfort. So it's very interesting. And all of you, I would recommend watching the moon patterns with what's going on, what you observe in your life, because it is fascinating to see how it's all connected. But anyway, I was not feeling well, and I thought, well, yes, the full moon's coming. I know what I'm working on. I know there's releasing and that happening. So I'm just kind of riding through it. But Wednesday night, I got so uncomfortable and so like I couldn't sleep, I couldn't get to bed. I was up and down. Um and I actually started to get this pain like right in my root chakra area, like I thought I had a UTI. It was like really painful. And I haven't had one of those for ages. And it was so uncomfortable that I was in prayer, like help, help me get to sleep. I've got things I've got to do tomorrow, like all through that stuff. But I was like, when you're really uncomfortable, you're just begging for that discomfort to go away. And that's in the
Mhm.
span that I was at. So I had my hands were really warm. I had my hand just kind of on my abdomen, and all of a sudden I got this huge wave of heat. So very, very similar to how you described it. It wasn't like a creeping on. It just came on and it was my whole body. My whole body felt it from head to toe.
Yeah.
And it was so intense that I started to sweat, like, you could feel my back getting wet, my hair was starting to sweat, and I was like, "What is happening?" And it felt like it was lasted longer than it did, but I don't think it really did last that long, and it went as quickly as it came, but when I was feeling the heat, it was like I could feel movement. I could feel energy, and I feel movement when I do healing, when I do energy work. I feel movement in my body, and I know when they're done, because the movement stops. So I could feel that movement, and it was done. My discomfort was gone. I had to jump in the shower because I had gotten so
Yeah.
hot, I was sweating. So I had to take a quick shower, and I went back to bed, and I was fine. I woke up feeling great the next day, but
Wow.
so it's in my inquiry to Eric, and my guardian angel, I just call her Bronwyn, that's the name that she gave me, and said that that was releasing that was taking place in the root chakra area, and that's why I felt the discomfort in that area. Um, but I didn't have any of the other stuff. I didn't see anything. I didn't hear anything. It wasn't anything like that. It was a very physical experience. But so I'm gonna say I'm sure a lot of people have had some weird things in the past couple weeks where you might just feel unwell or feel like you're coming down with something, coming down with a cold. The other thing too is there's a lot of congestion, a lot of
Mhm.
nasal congestion and chest congestion that's happening right now as well. That's not really like it might be called something, like somebody might be told by a doctor, yes, you have like leftovers from this virus you had whatever 2 months ago, and some of it could be, but a lot of it is ascension. It's our body ascending.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's pretty incredible.
Wow. That's really cool.
You're gonna have a photographic
Yeah. Well,
memory
thanks
of
for
that
listening.
experience. Yeah.
It was just so intense. Like, I just cannot convey the intensity of the experience enough. Like, it was not like, was just so jarring,
Yes.
but uh, really, really cool. So I'm excited. So that's really cool. And I feel like you definitely, got some intervention as
Yeah.
well from an angel. So that's
Yeah.
cool. And if I'm glad you're feeling so much better.
Yes. Thank
And yeah, so yeah, watch everyone watch out for these symptoms and do this water manifestation. Like it definitely is powerful. That is for sure. I've never had this kind of experience after a manifestation. I've done the fire manifest. Maybe I'm a water sign and that's why the water worked. Because I've done the fire ones where
Oh,
you write everything down and then like throw it in the fire.
right.
And like nothing nothing worked. Like that didn't give these results. So I wonder like if somehow, you know what I mean? Like because there's
That's
all
a
the different
good
ones. Like they
that is a good you know, that is I have never even considered that before, and that is a really good point because so what sign are you? Are you Pisces?
I'm
Oh,
Gemini.
you're Gemini.
That's probably not water. I don't know. I think that's air. I don't know what it is, actually.
I think Gemini's
Not.
air. I think Gemini's air. I don't know.
I don't
I
know.
don't know for sure. But I was just gonna say, now that doesn't mean for whatever reason you could have water in your chart somewhere as well. So, but I was just thinking how interesting that would be to kind of play around with, because my best manifesting happens with artwork, right? With drawing,
With what?
with artwork, like drawing. So air is a lot
Oh,
of
okay.
creativity, right? Well, I'm double
Oh,
air.
yeah, okay.
So I'm Libra moon and rising. I'm all Libra. So um there's a lot of air there, and the creativity in doing artwork, and that's how I do a lot of my manifestation. It's writing and journaling. So that's really interesting. And um if water, I feel like you do have a lot of water in you. You've been Pisces in a lot of other lifetimes.
Well, so Maren is the base of it is Mar, which is of the sea. So
Ah,
like my name
okay.
is related to water.
Okay.
Um,
That's an interesting exploration. That would be an interesting channeling, to channel the different ways we
yeah,
manifest. And is there a specific way for each person because of their own blueprint, because of our own,
yeah,
so we're going to resonate. Of course, we know, we're going to resonate with different things that we do, but that'd be kind of an interesting experiment to play with, to find out all of that astrological stuff and kind of see if we could play with some
yes,
manifestation with that.
yes, that would be really
Yeah.
cool. Speaking of channelings, I saw on the comments oh my gosh, what's it called? Automatic writing
Yes.
for one of the questions for the soul plan versus manifestation. But we don't have time today. So that was definitely our plan, but then this happened and I had to tell
Yes.
Michelle.
Yes.
So we will get to that and we'll get to more if you guys have more questions. So
Awesome.
hang tight,
That's
hang
so good.
tight.
That's so good. Thanks, Maren.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Can't wait to share.
That's good.
Well, thank you guys so much for listening to my wild, wild story. And Michelle, thanks for sharing your story. Everybody, thank you for listening. Thank you, new subscribers. There's so much to be grateful
I
for.
know there
I
is.
was there like for a half hour over the grateful cup. Like, I'm grateful for this, I'm grateful for
Yes.
that. So, truly, truly blessed.
Yes.
And
We
thank
have a
you.
lot to be grateful for. So we're very grateful, and I'm grateful for you,
Mhm.
Maren. So here we
Oh, Michelle, well, I'm grateful for you too.
we go through this every time we say goodbye. I just love you. I'm so grateful for
Yeah.
you.
I
But
don't want to get up. I know.
but yeah,
I miss you more. I miss
I miss you more.
you
No, I miss you more. Okay. On that note, everybody, we'll see you next week. Same time, same place, same bot channel. Bye.
more. Bye.